have little updates. I'm working on the succulent again. I had to get a stool for copper foil. This stool's hard. I remember being so uncomfortable. All right. If you're new to my channel, I go live. I really don't schedule all of them, but I do. But most likely, more so, I go live when I have updates to what I'm working on. So, fun things to talk about, progress, what have you. I'm going to see, I'm on my, let's see, go back. Let's see. There, I got somebody here. Let's see, I'm trying to go on the TV. Here we go. Let me just scroll a little bit. Yeah, I'm on my clicker. I think it'll show me the live stream so I could pay attention to the chat. Shorts, videos. Yeah, popular for you. Oh wait, I'm looking right at it.
Just bear with me.
Here we go.
Just bear with me.
I'm going to turn the volume down. Actually, I'm going to mute it. There we go. No, that's not the right one. Let's see. Let me go back. For you. It should show up. Usually it does. It just shows up. For you. Search. I'll do the search. Live. Subscribed. I don't know. It gets harder to do every time I try to do this. But I know I'm live because I see the people on. And a little update, we're doing the succulent, the second one. The, what you call it? The Art Deco succulent. And this is my second tier. I'm putting the first tier together, but I wanted to bring you in a little bit. All right. You know what? Maybe I could see the chat. Let's see. Chat, top chat, live chat. Welcome to live chat. Maybe I could see the chat here. We'll see. All right, I got one person on. There was 3, but here I am. I'm live. This broadcast will be recorded. So any highlights, I'm going to clip them out, and that's my new thing. I'm going to go ahead and review all my videos and pick out, highlights, areas that I would think folks would find most interesting. At least I hope. Here's what I just started. My son, he borrowed my iron cradle. This is a new one. I just made it. And he took my old one. He said it had holes in it. I said, yeah, but I liked it. But anyway, if you ever need an iron cradle, that's actually better than most you buy, like those big, let me go over and pull that out. The big spring type, the coil, this thing. You can see this one's pretty old. Where you iron, you have to get it in, aim it up, and I don't know. So, to me, it's a lot of trouble, more trouble than it's worth. But you could use them. I like the old cradles, like you just drop the iron in like that and be done with it. It won't fall out. The metal, I guess, tin can. The tin doesn't really conduct heat. Yeah, so you're not going to burn the table below. I wouldn't put it on tissues, but it's pretty safe. It's not going to fall out. It's easy to, after you're soldering, just drop your arm like that as well. So they're easy to make. But I guess you can buy chicken in these type of cans, but if you eat sardines, you know, just save the can. All you do is you bend the sides out until it's like that. And there you go. Today we're going to be using a 60 watt. Oh, 3 people on. I think you guys, if you're here, you could say hello in the chat. I could see if it scrolls by, and I'll see if I can pay attention to it. I'm going to try one more time to see if I can pull it up on my TV. Let's see. Let's see. Should say, I see I'm live. Maybe it'll pop up now. Oh, here we go. You know, it takes a minute. All right. So I guess if I schedule it on the computer, it'll be ready for me to put it on the TV, because it'll say scheduling. So now I'm successfully connected. I see all the stuff going on here on my TV. I see one person viewing, or 2 now. Somebody just jumped in. But here I should be able to see the live chat. Let's just see. I know. Live chat. Okay, yeah, that's on. Okay. I got the volume down so I don't hear myself echoing. Yeah, I was just talking about this sardine can. Real quick and easy way to make a cradle for your iron. This iron has very little weight to it, so it's not going to be as, I mean, it still works. Not as valuable as a heavier iron. You just lay it down. And all right, so we have that. What I got today is the Art Deco succulent, which we're building out on a 20 degree for the first layer. All right, we got it all cut, all foiled. I didn't foil live, it's kind of boring. And got it ready. So I just wanted to show, using these aluminum push pins, these here. And this is a butcher block, so it's pretty tough. But if you take a small glazing knife, like this, and take the pin, you have to smash it in, just get it in so it's solid. What that does, it's gonna, see, I could push on this piece, the copper foil. These pieces, they come out, but it fits nicely. So I can just go down the line and make 6 of them, without worrying about them not matching or, they're not tight. Here, you can actually give it a pretty good push on it. So let's turn it on. I got 2 people here. It's all right. I'm the boring, goofy stained glass guy. I'm okay with that. Right. Trying to clean up my mess. So here, what I did last time, I took the camera and I kind of angled it. But actually what I can do, I can probably do more of that. So I have to move it out of my way. There we go. See, it's like not perfectly flat, but you could see what I'm doing. Otherwise the camera's in my way. Unless I put the camera up here and shoot down this way, but then I can't see it. So, but with the TV on, I could see it. So here we go. They got the iron heating up. And this is the base layer. It has, it looks like this. It's going to be 6 of them. And then above that, this is going to be layer number 2. which will be on a 30-degree form. So it'll be slightly tilted up. And this will be for the candles. That I did yeah, it's right here. I'm so proud of this thing. It's the first one I ever made. Yeah, it's a candle holder. And I got the cups for them. They're, see, that's one of my problems. I'm not organized. Well, the cups look like this. I got a whole bag of them. And they're relatively inexpensive, so it's not going to be. And the nice thing is about these cups, you could solder to them. Here you go. I got my bag right here. You take the cup, and what I did with the other one, I took my sharpening stone, just a regular knife sharpening stone. I took the cup and I just, worked it around the bottom a few times, turning it a little bit, just to bring that metal up, take the paint off. I press a little harder. You'd probably use a file or sandpaper, but I didn't have one. I had standing by, and this works fine. Take your time with it. So you get that metal showing like that, and then you could solder to it. I found that out the last succulent I made. And that actually, it burnt through the paint and got to the metal below. But I think if I scrape it first, I'll have a lot more success with it. All right, let's get some flux over here. I got this, I think it's a mixture of tiger's eye and the Win USD. They're both water-based fluxes. The Win USD is more liquid. It has it's not as like a gel flux like the tiger's eye would be. So, but it does work well. It reminds me of Canfield flux. I'm going to use that. All right. Now, here's a little trick I showed last time. Whenever you got just foiled pieces, they're pretty clean. You don't have to really flux everything to tack solder. What I mean by that is you take your solder, let's go do a quick dip with the iron, just to get any residue off it. And we'll take our little brass brush here. I should be shooting it this way. See? Makes that tip beautiful. Cleans it right up. And let's lower that. I'm going to go down to 70. It's a little hot. So, like I was saying, this copper is fresh, and I'm using Mongo's 1.5 blackback. Good foil. I did a review on it. Very happy with how it works. And I called Guy. He's my brother, and I told him that I was very satisfied with how things look with it, and good job, all that. So that's the foil I'm using. Here, I just have this old Canfield, and I was a little concerned that it may be slightly dirty. So you could use steel wool, but good clean rag works too, actually. You just give it a good pinch and rub it down. You can feel it get, smoother, a little slippery. That's all you need to do. Get off that surface oxidation. You could see it. It's all over here. A little bit of steel wool. I got it. It's over here somewhere. But I think that rag is better than not doing anything. So what we want to do, make this, put it in a comfortable range. You dip your solder. And then you want to tack this. You want to put it you could actually touch the area with the solder, just to drop a little flux on it. And then making sure it's in the form, I just moved it. And then take your iron, hit the end of your solder and a small tap, tack like that. Once that's solidified, you're good to go. Just to be sure with everything, you can give it a double tack like that. That's inside this form. Now once you got it outside the form, let's see, come over here, you could finish up, your soldering. You could do a better flux job on it. I'm not going to do all these now because I got to do all the edges. But you can see this Win USD flux works really well. That's a beautiful bead. And I didn't even flux the copper foil really. It's just what I dripped down. So we're going to make our panels. And this is facing up. This is actually, the Baroque is upside down. So I got more of this, the striations here, the striated sections of glass facing upward. So when the light hits it, you see more drama. All right, so we're going to put that like that. And then, being I'm in limited space, I, have to kind of reach over things. So here, with this form, what I was saying, with the lead knife, you could easily take these push pins. And if you're going to use the aluminum push pins, get the longer ones. They have different length pins. Get the longer ones. They always work better. These are all rusty. They're old. But what you want to do is just put it in place. If you have the cartoon down here, you could use that. You point it into the bench. You could push it down a little bit just to get a bite. And holding it like that, that's why I say get the longer ones. You could hold your finger on it. And take the knife and, so I'm not hitting hard. I'm just tapping to you. You're a nice solid grab. And that's the pressure you use building a piece is never going to pop that out. And if you want to take the pin out, you just give a little spin, a twist, it comes right out. The best thing about it, these pins, though they do leave a hole, it's so tiny, it would never be an issue. If you had to draw on here or what have you. If you use the big horseshoe nails, which I have them, but you hit them into whatever you're working with, you're going to end up marring up your surface. It's overkill, in my opinion. I build 8-foot stained glass windows using these pins. And if the window is fitting perfectly, basically when you cut your piece, you put your lead on, or you cut your piece, you put it in the lead, and you could see the line of the cartoon below. That's where you want to take your pin and put it right on that line of the drawing. That's your pattern line. Tap it in. You could also use the rubber mallets that we use. Tap the pin in with that. But the best tool by far is the Lepinet's glazing knife. All right, see how, if you keep watching your iron, you see how it's getting a little grungy. So we want to clean it right back up. And yes, it is okay to dip your tip. That's the old, what was that, wives' tale? You can't. Yes, you can. Just don't plunge the tip to here. You give a little tip. Because in actuality, when you are soldering your piece, if you have flux on your lead or on your copper, the tip of your iron is going to be in contact with that flux. So what's the difference whether it's in contact here or a little dip like that? All right, so I never understood why people are so fearful. Well, I understand. They were told, don't dip the tip. You see that moved on me? What you can do is, to be sure it's tight, come up. See, I'm pushing everything in this direction. I know you guys can't see it. just to tighten it up and then re-tack it. So yeah, see, I dipped, my brother came up with that. He said, do the dip, dip your solder into your flux, then solder, and then, or clean the tip by doing that. And he's right, you do the dip, and it really does help. You do the dip, you don't even have to flux this piece. And he likes using the no corrode paste flux. See that? The cradle works perfectly. Now here, we're not going to build this yet. We're just, just excited to see how it looks. But if we were to build it, you get everything lined up really good. And then you get to your top area. See, now I'm reaching on past the camera. And then you kind of hold it down. You get in this top area, and you put a little tack right there. So you can probably do that now, just to hold it in place. Actually, I'm going to do that. Now here, being I'm not able to grab the solder, I'm sticking my arm in the flux. And just give it a little dab with the brush. And make sure the solder on the iron. Just give it a little, very small tack like that. That's going to hold these two together and allow you to make any fine adjustments like that. So you have a little give in it. But my goal was to get the top here lined up and a very small tack there. I'm leaning on the iron. All right, so whenever you're building three-dimensional pieces, or you want an extra hand, keep things from moving around. Oh, 2 people! I got a thumbs up. I'm not watching the TV, so I could check later. But like I said earlier, I'm going to do clips of videos of key moments, like that discussion on why it's important to do easy dip in the iron. I mean, I could go make a longer video with all of those elements, or just keep this whole live video, the process of building this succulent, all of the above. I mean, it is what it is, and not everybody gets to see other people. See, what I'm doing is I'm holding this piece down with this finger, my left finger, and I'm tapping here just to seat it well in these pins. And this one goes like that. And I'm still holding this piece down, and then I got this one now pushing that down. You a little tap like that. So that's nice and tight. Take your flux. You can just drop it on like that. So that's holding it together. Then you can come over here and do it again. And if you you want to solder it now, you can. You can put a little bit more down. Whenever you're doing small items, soldering, you have your tip in this position to put solder down. But if you want to lift solder off, lay your iron flat. So whenever you lay your iron flat, whatever solder you're touching to will be drawn back into the iron. If you want to lay it down, you lift it up. That's good for doing the edges. Whereas you don't want to lay your iron flat to draw solder up. You want to put solder down on the edge, all right? So it's a little thing that I don't hear people talking about. It's the angle of your iron. It's very important. It plays a big part in what you're doing. No joke. So here we go. We got number 3. We're going to go ahead and, the thing is, I found with these succulents, what's most important is getting everything lined up well, all right? And you could do all that fine tuning with the soldering later on. See, it's just a little grab of solder and go. Just see, I'm holding it flat, I get over here, I lift up, and I put the solder down. Oop, didn't take, that's because my tip is dirty. Let's do that again. So I'm like double jointed around the camera. I need a video person. Let's try that again. I don't think I had enough solder. I'm just making sure that that point is even, because that's what you're going to notice if it's off. You got that down. So what I'm doing is, again, these can all, move back and forth or move up and down. Some may not be perfect. It doesn't matter. You just want to get that, basically this angle working. Let's get another one. So you can go into mass production mode. That in there, that in there. Solder. And when you get, like anything else, when you get a little more tuned in, you can move along faster and be less of a chore, or thinking it's a chore ahead. See, you saw me melt this blob here. You want to melt it, but then move off it so that the solder sets up below, so you don't remelt it and pull your piece apart. All right, that's important. And that, I'm not going to do that because I want to get the heat over here. And what I said before, when you're doing small beads like that, put your iron down, and instead of lifting, which causes little lines in your solder line, in your solder lines, it causes like little ripples. You take the, I had solder on there. Get rid of that. You take your soldering iron. I just pulled that foil up. Yeah, it's okay. You can tap it down like that. You take your solder like here, and you pull to the side, and it snaps together nicely. It's another little trick. Avoid going down and up, down and up. I mean, you can, and you more so like on the edges when you're doing edge beat. That was hot. When you're doing edge beating, you want to do that, but typically, see, I'm just testing the continuity here. The levelness of it. Get this one going. Whoop, see, it moved on me. What I don't like about these forms, they're a little slippery. Plus, no glasses right now. I'm living on the edge. But I could see it. I could see what I'm doing. All right, and you could see this is now, and I mentioned it when I started making this. This may be a little wide for this base. So if that's the case, it's no big deal because the next layer on top is going to cover all that up. All right? I knew it was going to be a bit on the wide side. But again, I didn't worry about it too much. I'm more concerned with having a consistent angle coming up. Hey, hit this thing again. 4 pieces. Okay, I have another person. All right, let's keep going. You see that little solder blob right there? Let's grab it. See, just grabbed it. And I did so by laying my iron flat like that. This iron's actually a good temperature. It's not overheating. It's getting a little warm, but it's not. There we go. Sure that's together. It's not getting like crusty black, but you can always dip the tip like that because it cleans it right up, and it helps the soldering too. And again, I would never recommend plunging your tip, holding it there, and letting it bubble and smoke. I would never recommend doing that. But a little, tap in the flux is fine. See, now I tack that, I can go back and fix that area. Again, pull to the side. move it off away from these pins so I can get at it a little better. So you pull it to the side, pull it to the side. You can lift up. You see how it leaves those little lines like that? You pull it to the side, no lines. See? Now if you can see that clearly, you pull it to the side, it doesn't leave a line there for you. Let's see. Oop, I keep forgetting. That's hot. Again, my concern is the angle. Not so much any spaces. Make sure this is flush. And when all's said and done, when everything is done, what's going to matter is how these points line up. Really nothing more. And the little bit of added solder in the base area is fine, because this will have a slight edging on it. So the next layer that goes in, it'll receive that. And also when you finish it on the bottom, you have a nice ring of solder. That's coming from a guy who did a lot of Tiffany lamps. And if you looked at our lamps, we had the crowns on top. I got a lamp here somewhere. Actually, and it's a really good example, because that's why you never worry about a heavy solder on doing these 3D, because I know that when this is done, it's going to be rock solid. I'm going to grab the lamp real quick and come right back. It's right here. I'm walking over to get it. So, in reality, a lamp is 3D. And I'm going to try to get this in front of the camera. Right inside the crown, where it meets the banding, you got this banding here. There's a heavy ring of solder, intentionally beat it up heavy for the integrity of the lamp. It does two things. It makes that crown really strong to the top of the band, and it also holds the shape of the lamp together. And, so you can worry about a little bit of extra solder here. Well, that's okay. I mean, ideally you want it tighter, but I knew it was going to be a little loose, but I didn't worry, because I like that. Of course, as well, when you build this later and you flat solder it, you're going to have a nice solid base to this candle. You don't want your candles falling over. And let me show you the first one I did. You'd see the bottom, that's where that solder would be. It's okay to have it a little heavy, a nice ring. That's going to give stability to the whole candle. Right? And the piece above is going to cover that. All right, let's do the next one. See, all the pins are there, nothing moved. See, we got 5 people on. Give me the thumbs up. Thank you, guys. I like seeing those thumbs up. It tells me I'm doing something right. So maybe I'm not doing it right. People like what I'm doing. See, now we had a little delay or a time lapse here. So our iron got a little bit of a black spot on it. You want to get that right off as soon as possible. You dip your iron, get it right off. Now, if you're using a sponge with water on it, or a sponge with flux on it, it's time to get that off. You leave that black gook on the tip, it's just going to fester with the heat and become harder to remove, or nearly impossible. It'll ruin your tip. A little dip of the solder right here. I'm holding my finger down like that, so it kind of holds up the solder nice, so I'm not shaking all over the place. Little tack. Hope you guys can see that. Yeah, you can see that. And a little tack. It's all about getting it tacked. And you could kind of estimate how much solder you need to finish this line. And that was just about right. You could say, you know, 1/4 inch up and drop it in. It's, you know, you kind of learn those amounts the more you do. See, I pull aside, and you don't have to worry about cracking your glass. I'm not telling you to leave the iron on the glass. But just pull it aside, and it gives that bead a nice, it looks nice. I don't know, it's a nice bead. All right, we got down here. I'm kind of reaching over the bench to do this. And I could see my cutting was not so perfect here. So I don't know if it's my cutting with this piece. I think this piece needs to be shifted. Yep. Well, what do you know? Let's see. I don't know. That's why you tack things too. So you can just heat that up and pull it apart. Make sure. So for some reason, I don't know what I did wrong. I think I moved. That's all right. We can just heat this up. Gary's bloopers. I don't know what's going on here. Is this upside down? No. Actually, I want to move this. Plan B. So you want to just drop this solder out. You just hit it on the side. Heat up the joint, you know, the line, as much as you can. And that's, I guess, an oversight on my part. I should have checked this before I put it, because you could solder this whole thing when it's all done. So you just want to tack everything until everything fits right. So, you know, maybe I should have, in hindsight, I shouldn't have done that. See how I removed the solder from that line by going like that. Then I just heated up the whole line, the piece fell off. All right, so here I got a little issue. I want to just, now you want to hold your iron flat like that. It pulls the solder off, see? And then you go like that, the solder comes off the tip. You know, like that, it goes up the tip, and like that, it goes off the tip. Let's get this back together. I just don't know why. Yeah. So I want this to be a straight line. Wait, is this one upside down? No, can't be. All right. I'm thinking out loud. Well, I'm going to make a decision to move this out a little bit just because I want this to line up better. I just want that. I know I'm a little tight here. So possibly my cutting was off. I mean, I'm not perfect. I do make mistakes. I may have rushed or did something. I wasn't paying attention. But I'll make lemonade here. So I just basically I took this small piece, I shifted it down a little bit just to give me a little more, you know, so it connects. And what I may do, leave this just tacked for now. Actually, I want to tack it a little better, just so it's not going to fall apart. And then get it up in here. See, now I got more of a straight line. I'm going to do this side first. I'm sorry, camera. And get that together like that. That. Yep. Sardine can, go away. So sardine can also, it's good. It holds your little drops of solder too. And that's a little better. So I could always push this bottom up, get a little tighter later on. Actually, it's fitting pretty well right now. Okay. And back to this. this one, soldered here. Went a little heavy with the flux. That's okay. I'm going to grab this solder that's in the can and go ahead and tack that. All right. Now we have this issue. See, it's going to want to draw everything together. That's okay. See, we just tacked it. We can move things around. Want to bring these, all you're concerned about are these 2 points. You don't want to start pulling foil off. You just want to get those 2 points together, and you can feel your finger. And I'm bumping the camera. I'll tell you, it's really not easy to do. With a limited workspace, a camera stuck on your side. How else am I going to do it? I guess I can put the camera up there. So now we have the first layer pretty much shaped. Everything's where it should be. And then we can move on to the next layer. Another thing is I don't have to take this cup off. I mean, the cup comes right off. But if it was tighter, I would have issue getting the cup off. You see, I got some butyl down there. I showed that in a previous video. The butyl is mastic window glazing. Window mastic. And I've got it somewhere. You know, I tell you, I lose more things. I know it's here. It's going to bite me. No? Anyway, it's very sticky, but not permanent. Here, what I'm doing is I'm lining up these lines, saying, yeah, that's pretty much center. But I'm done with this form. So I get the piece like this. I could actually remove these pins as well because they are no longer going to be needed for this. You know, I'm done with this shape. Unless I was building another one. And then you get it like this, you kind of check all your fits, you know, your angles, make sure you're nice and tight. Then, you know, make sure everything's kind of snug, which it is, it's not bad. Then take I don't even worry about the brush, I just dip like this and just tack the bottoms. Tack the bottoms. And the reason why I say just tack the bottoms is because you may have to tighten things up. You don't want a big long solder bead there. So you got a little weakness here on this line. So maybe you can, by squeezing the sides, yep, pull it together. It looks better. Everybody wants that neat solder line. And then, you know, this one, I can't adjust that. This is the one where I had to bump things around. That's fine. No one's going to ever see that. Because, like I was saying, the next tier, the pedals, you know, these pedals here, I'm going to cut this like that. I'm not using a triangle. That was for another design. I was thinking of using that with this, which would work. I just felt the chevrons, the old, you see them in the old architecture, you know, as the keystones of Art Deco buildings, or you see them above doorways, on elevator doors. I mean, it's very, very common in Art Deco architecture. But I felt with this one, this design, this is more of a BOHO, which stands for Bohemian style, Art Deco. It's really, it's becoming actually more popular these days. I don't know. You know, fads come and go. But I think this one's here to stay because I'm already labeling, you know, this art look, it's very Edwardian looking, which would kind of perioded correctly in the the 20s and 30s, and even before that into the late 1800s. Edwardian has been around, but this leads more of a consistent repeat in a curves, swoops, and straight lines. And so this is more of a boho Art Deco. This is actually very Art Deco-ish, if that's a word. So I felt using this pattern, I put that in between the petals, like I did with the other one. So these petals, let me cut one out. You know why? I'm talking about it. Watch my speed. Let me turn the iron off. We can turn that iron off now. I already got the angles figured out for the 30-degree form. So that should work out. And like everything handmade, you're gonna have a little inconsistencies here and there. Nothing's perfect. Don't if you're not perfect with your alignments and how things are coming together, just run with it. Don't beat yourself up over that. Unless it's really bad. You see daylight. Here if you don't have a good set of pattern shears, you really need to get them. Not only does it give you the spacing for your pieces, it also, when you cut with them, especially these old glass stone ones, the blades being that they're two low and one on top in the middle, and the two bottom blades have a flat plane to them. See, it's flat. It's holding the paper in place really well. See, the paper's resting on top of that. Unlike the shears you buy to have the beveled edges, they're beveled. Paper doesn't sit well on that. Doesn't sit well with me either. No, but honestly, and that's it. And this blade is flat too. So when you're cutting it, everything's being like pulled together flat and plumb. Hope that made sense. So if you can find a pair of these glass stars, and I'm talking to companies, say, make these. I will send you. I've got a couple pairs. I will send you a pair. Make these, and I would promote them all day, every day. I do it my 7 morning glass, pattern shear promotion, because just as many miles I've cut with glass, probably more with glass, I've cut. I mean, I can't even guess the amount of thousands of miles of patterns I've cut with pattern shears. A lot. All right, so with that said, so we can actually put this aside. What I wanted to show, I got my 30 here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this cup off here. We don't need this anymore. You see the butyl, it may leave a little residue. That comes off with mineral spirits, what have you. And I put this down in the center. Put my cup down. Follow the lines. Follow the lines. Just using your eye. I could see this cup's a little bit off this way. I'm going to nudge it slightly. So it's a little twisty, and nudge it. And then double check. Your eye's pretty good when you're doing centering of circles. You don't have to get out the feeler gauge. And then let's just bend this over so I can get a better idea. The pattern, you put it in the template, in the form, you can see that's still not low enough. It's got to come down a little bit. And look at that. And we say, all right. I don't advocate doing things by eye, but something like this, it really doesn't matter much. I mean, as long as you're in the ballpark of where your piece is, you'll be fine. And if you're ever unsure that you might be cutting too much off, cut less off. So you can come back. You can always come back and cut more off. I'm going to say it's right in there. And you can have a slight curve to it. It doesn't necessarily have to be. And we're going to check it with the form again. You know, with the cup in place and looking down, you can see the template is pretty much right where it needs to go. And I mean, it may need it a little bit more off so it sinks in a little bit more. So I'm going to do that. Using the pattern shears, you can look over the top and cut it that way, or just cut it right on the template. A little at a time. Put it back in. This is basically test fitting. Let's see, get it right in the bottom. And then you have to, what I didn't take into consideration last time I did this. Putting the template down is one thing, but you also have the thickness of the glass. So the thickness of the glass will actually pull this out like that. So you want to make sure you allow for that. So I'm actually going to take off a little bit more. And again, I don't mind. I'm going to eye up that. That doesn't look straight. I don't mind that there's going to be little excess solder in that area. I'm just lining up, making sure this is flat. Lining up. It's a little low on this side. I don't mind a little extra solder in that area. And I'll bring it out with this again because two reasons. It's going to make this layer really strong, a lot stronger. And everything kind of disappears when you're up against the cup. So no one's going to look at this and say, oh, there's too much solder on there. I'd say, okay. So don't worry about too much solder. I mean, you don't want solder dripping all over. So here we're going to do one more test fit. And now I could see that this template works really good with this layer. Even with the thicker glass, it comes out a little bit. That's okay. I just don't want it too tight. So, and what I was getting at before, this pattern here will now sit here like that. I'm sorry, yeah. You want to line up the point with the seam. So it's going to sit there just about like that, which is pretty. And even just having 6 of these petals going around is pretty in itself. And then, that's the next step. To cut that, I picked out a nice, clear, textured glass for that, which I probably, here it is. It's behind me. But it's a clear rough roll. They call it rough roll. I'll bring it out. Because I'm not going to just talk about it. I'm going to show it. I got my candle on top of it. And this candle has to find a home. There you go. Yeah, this is a really nice candle. It's beeswax. Now here, this is called Spectrum Rough Roll. It's called that because it has a rough texture and it's a double rolled glass. So this is actually the texture of the wheel that the glass is running over when it's getting made. It's a machine-made glass with double rollers, one being smooth and the other one having rough rolled texture. All right? But if you look at it, you look at items behind it, like the candle, the bottom candle, it has a really nice shimmering effect. And that's my goal with this next tier. And though this doesn't have a real heavy, directional lines going in, but it does. It has you could see it. This would be vertical. The pattern is kind of going up and down. And this is horizontal. So I'm going to go with more of a vertical alignment like that with this piece. And this is showing it's upside down. This is, universal. You can go this way or that, but I'm going to have the rough rolled part facing up. So any flickering of the candle is going to do what you see with the lights here. It's going to pick up that texture as compared to this side, which is more of a mirror. You know, not a mirror, but you don't see that same texture. So when you're picking out glass, always keep that in mind, how texture plays, you know, into what you're doing. So, yeah, that's it. I don't know how long I've been on. Oh, just about 56 minutes. So I'm gonna like segment my live shoots here and, you know, kind of cover everything as I go along. The importance of fluxing, cleaning your tip, how to, you know, tack solder. You see I left this tip cool down. It was hot, but it cooled down and it has residue on it. It's not the end of the world. I would just pretty much keep an eye on it. It should be fine. You could, you know, do a dip, but what I should have done is clean the tip before I shut it down. And yeah, you know, this is a Hacko 60 watt. I got it on 60 on the rheostat out of 100. This thing heats up really quick. And yeah, it has it. You could change the tip. I bought this. You just unscrew this here. Pull the tip out. The tip's a few dollars. The whole iron. I got it on sale for $22, $23. It's just crazy. I still can't figure out how they're selling them so cheap, but they are, and it is available on Amazon. You could find it in my Amazon store. Below the video, you'll see a link. I have Amazon store products we endorse. I quickly endorse this one. This iron, I mean, it's made in Mexico, but it's got the Weller brand. You can't see it. It's got the Weller brand on it. Weller's name is very respected in the soldering iron business. I mean, they've been around for a long time. And I mean, but again, $23. If you have a rheostat, and I use the old mini phaser, they have other, you know, new rheostats, the Leponettes, and I've actually seen one that was cheaper yet, but it was more of a slide dial. I don't know. If you can find one of these mini phasers, you know, eBay or Marketplace, grab one, because these are nice. They sit really nice on the bench. They're lightweight. You can carry it across the window to solder. And I had it forever, and it works well. And it has the dial, so you could tell. You know, if you're used to using your iron, say 75, 80. That's for basically soldering out. When you turn it on, you can just keep soldering. If you find it's cooling down too much, like with bigger stained glass pieces, you could bump it up to 90 or go full tilt, which I have done. And just keep soldering. Don't stop. Then when you want to do delicate work where it's intermediate heating or drop soldering or tacking, bring it down to 60, 70. So you don't want to get too hot, because then you end up cooking your tip of your iron. Then if you're going to take a little break, you can drop it down to 50. If you say, I got to do something else. But honestly, that's called idling your iron. Idling will not cook your tip. It'll get hot. It's hot, but it's not going to burn your tip. But these Weller irons heat up so quick that you can go from a cold start to 70, 60, 70 in this case, and start soldering within a minute. It's not even an issue. Not like a bigger 250 watt or 100 watt Weller, the big lungers, you can get hurt if you hit yourself with it. See, this is already at soldering temperature, just about. but I put the flux on it just so I can clean it up. I'm going to actually go through the motions because I can't leave that unanswered. I'm going to put it up to 70, 80 like I was, and make sure I'm going to leave the tip tinned. It's called tinning your tip. Still, it's not hot enough yet. You can see the solder melting if it was. You could put your solder down on the bench top. Just put pressure on it. Come on, heat up. Do, 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 do. Waiting for the iron. It looks like it's doing it now. Let's see. Come on. Yeah, it's melting the solder now. Okay, so what I was getting at, when you leave your iron, if you're going to leave it for overnight or any extended period of time, tin it. Put a little solder on it. You know, let it heat up, and then take your brass and just brush away any burn residue that's on there. It's going to really help preserve the tip. You know, keep it working for you. All right, and that's it. I don't like using the sponges with water in it, unless you got distilled water. I don't even think that's the issue with hard water, soft water. I think what the big issue is dirty solder, which I know I have that, dust in the air, the dust that lands on your sponge you're trying to clean your iron with. You know, if you had a radar for dust, you'd be surprised how much dust is floating around. And that gets on your tip, gets on your sponge, gets on your water. I don't care if you have spring water, you know, boiled water, or whatever. What's the other water? The distilled water. It's not going to matter unless it's a dust-free environment, you know, like in a lab somewhere. But you know, literally your house, you got cats, you got dust, things are going to get dirty. So there's like a false sense of security, thinking by using that sponge with the water is going to keep your tip clean. Yeah, it'll clean, you know, wipe off the flux, you know, the dirt for the moment, but it's not going to keep it clean. Now, flux, on the other hand, it has the cleaning agents in it. So if you get it in the flux, that's why I'm a strong advocate of dipping your iron in the flux. I'm not saying plunge it, and you do a little tap, and that's going to actually help tin your iron, or keep it tinned. You know, don't worry about doing that. And if things really get crazy and your tip does get really dirty, there's options. You got, I got it somewhere. My Salomoniac block, and I got that new tip tinner thing. I thought it was right here. It's hiding. I didn't feed it today. It's mad at me. Yeah, there are options to bring your tip right back to really good condition. So, anyway, today's live. We're just over an hour, and I'm going to come back and build the next tier. And then, one last thing. That's what I wanted to talk about. I got these are called setting blocks, but they're foam, and they assist you in soldering. Like, say you want to solder this panel, you're going to solder that, this, and that. Instead of trying to hold it with two hands, put your foam like that. You know, you don't need any fancy gadgets. You know, with clamps. You don't need this and that, whatever. You have to use a big box. Use a piece of foam. It's not going to hurt your stained glass. And just like that. And then when you solder it, you just go like that. They work really great. And if you're really, you know, if you're a daredevil, you can hold it with one hand, solder it as you're grabbing solder off the spool, and do it that way too. But when you do solder these inside lines and the outside lines, you want to make sure that those planes are flat. all right? And here, if you're doing, see, that works out really well at the height of this foam. You just put it like that and solder this. You put it like that, solder this. So these foam blocks are really versatile. I mean, this is kind of steep, but you could actually do that. You know, solder like that. It's, you know, I don't see why not. Or put it like that. So, you know, you already got the peak. Well, then you got a wobble. So, solder like that. These foam blocks, I got them years ago, and I got 2 of them. You know, for if you're gonna set up something heavy. It works for lamps and all of the above. You know, for bigger lamps, and you're gonna solder, you can use the edge of your bench, you know, to gradually tilt your lamp. But if making small items, these blocks are great for that. Yeah, I wanted to say that earlier. Anyway, do you have any questions? Please, down below. I don't know if I had any chats or not. I'm going to run off to the computer and check the file, make sure it works, and get ready for clipping key elements of this video and serving them up with titles that say, you know, I mean, I spoke about a lot of things here that may be very difficult to do. I'm just going to basically do a summary of what this live broadcast was about. But if you did enjoy it, please, you know, help me out. Give me that. Look, I'm self-promoting. The thumbs up. I know a lot of you guys do, but that you know, besides helping my channel, unless I have 1 million subscribers, the thumbs up makes me feel good. It really does, and I appreciate seeing it, and the chats and the messages and all the above. Hey, if you're making succulents or spinners, I mean, really, you can make spinners with this. You know, I'm going off subject. I know folks, they want to do use these big jigs to make spinners, but honestly, all you need is this. Put your spinner right here. You tack. You make three panels. You know, 3. And for making the spinner, you may have to raise this a little bit because the spinner is longer. But all you got to do is make 3 90-degree panels like that, and then tack them together when you're done. And then you could use this to prop up the spinner to solder. Everything should be tacked well like this. It's actually pretty strong. Before you do any kind of finish soldering, in case you need to move a piece, make an adjustment, what have you. Don't be afraid of handling it. I mean, you can't slam it around, but it's going to be pretty sturdy. All right, and with that, I'm going to sign off this live. Folks that came along and joined me, thank you. And we'll see you on the next one. And if you're a subscriber, you'll get the updates. You'll see it on your device. It'll say Gary's live, and I don't really jump right into things right away, so you don't miss stuff. You know, I kind of warm up to the main event. All right, and thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. You take care.